G'day, Aussie Bonsai bloke here, how you going? Today, got a couple of trees that I've worked on in the past and a new one here, which is a quince tree. This one here is an apple tree which I got from the boss's yard. We pulled it out with a tractor, as you can see from a mark here. If you haven't seen in a previous video. This one is a crepe myrtle. I'm going to do some trimming back on that. This is all just summer pruning, by the way, today, just show you how to summer prune. Also got a quince tree here, which I dug up from the ground where it was growing up like a root from like a sucker. That's what I meant to say. Growing up bloody sucker in the parents' yard, so I dug it up. And that's it. So I'm going to go through each one, pruning them, and I'll just explain a little bit now. Like at the end of a branch where it forks into two, I'll trim it back pretty close, like probably only one pair of leaves or something in close. Because if you were to do it, say if you wanted the outside of the tree to be out here and you did it out here, even though it shoots from in there, what you would end up with is you'd end up with this whole long bit sitting in that tree, and it would fork at the end. It wouldn't fork back here pretty well never again. So all of this would remain bare. Then you'd end up with the fork there, and then you'd have to ramify off of there, and that would just look silly. So what you do is you cut it back here, and then let it divide here and here, and hopefully it'll shoot out two shoots. Sometimes these alternate leaves only shoot out, alternate branches, sorry, will only shoot out one shoot out the tip, but quite often if they're healthy they'll shoot out two. This apple tree here, quite a few areas it's only shot out one, so I'm hoping as the summer goes on and after this cut back it'll try and push out two shoots. Things like an olive, you know, most deciduous trees, broadleaf trees like evergreens like an olive, you do pretty much the same thing on. The only difference is if you've got both branches come from one spot like an olive. So if there was another shoot out the other side, if you cut back to there, you would guarantee that both shoots shoot out, whereas alternate branching like this, it's not always a given that both are going to shoot out, which is a bit of a pain, but you get what you get. And if it doesn't shoot out properly, you can always cut it back again and hope for the best. So I'll go through and I'll just trim them all back like that. And also while you're doing that, you got about three things that you want to keep in mind. You want to keep in mind the outside silhouette of the tree. The next thing that you want to keep in mind is on a bottom branch you may want it to get fatter so that it doesn't look out of proportion to the top of the tree. If the top of the tree is getting fatter and the bottom isn't getting fatter, then it's out of proportion. So you want the bottom branches to grow longer, which in turn makes them fatter, which then makes the tree more believable. So yeah, so you want outside silhouette of the tree, the bottom branches to get fatter, but another big thing to avoid is to then cut out on the tip and then have it divide out here and have a big straight bit. You want to be able to cut back hard there also. So that's pretty much the three things that you want to be looking out for when you're cutting back for summer pruning. So that's I'll pretty well just go through and do all of that now. And as you can see, I'll just show you a bit of a close-up of a couple of them, of what I mean. Like down here, you'll see that this crepe myrtle, because they're apically dominant, and they grow more in the apex. See the little shoots down here on that first branch are quite weak. You know, may have had that. Oh, that's the front of the tree. I had it backwards. Well, this side's not too bad. The other side was bad because it was actually in the shade. So that's not too bad, but quite like there, you want that to thicken up. So I'll let this grow out further. And the more that grows out here, the thicker that'll get down there. Whereas the top, where the branches are already thick enough for the top of the apex of the tree, I'll cut them back to only 2 pairs each in there. And the same will go for the quince tree here. I'll cut that back only to 2 pair in most cases. The bottom branches are already fairly thick, so they'll probably all go back to 2. And I'll just show you what I mean with this apple tree. I think because I repotted it not that long ago, it see wherever it's shot, it's just shot 1 there. That's the old growth there, only shot 1 shoot there. Here it tried to shoot another one, but only shot 1. 1 there. 1 there. See what I mean? Like, I'm going to cut these all back pretty hard and hope that they put out 2. This one here put out 2. I think because I repotted it and it lost a lot of its root system, it's only been able to push out 1 shoot in each area. And see what I mean? Like if I'd left these really long out to here, I would end up with all of that growth out to here before you end up with another shoot. But what I'll do is I'll cut it back here, and hopefully it'll divide in a bit closer, and I'll get 2 for the next flush of growth. And it's done that in a lot of areas. It's only shot out 1, so also the back of the tree is still quite weak. It's been in the shade pretty well, and the front's been in the sun. So I'm going to prune it back hard now, and then I'm going to flip the tree around, and the back of the tree will get more sunlight for a while. Eventually I'm going to put it in the sun full time, but because I repotted it and it's in a relatively small pot for the size of the tree, I'll just keep it in a bit of shade for now. Also, you probably noticed I didn't get any apples on this, so I was hoping for apples, but all the flowers dropped off. I think being in a pot like it is, a small pot, it flowered really early before any other apples flowered, which meant there was no apples in the yard that could pollinate it, because this one pretty much flowered before anything because it shot early because of the warmth in the pot, I suppose, made it shoot early. Hopefully, whether I grow some more in pots to make them flower at the same time, or whether once this settles down it'll flower at the same time, I'm not sure. But I'm hoping to get some apples in the future, but this year I didn't get any. So yeah, I'll just go through and work on all of these and trim them back. Another thing I'll show you too after I'm finished trimming this one back is that the wire is almost cutting in now. So it's almost time to cut some of that wire off, but because I'm cutting it back, I could possibly leave it on for a little bit longer till it reshoots a bit and then cut it off. We'll see how we go. Alright, well, I'll get into trimming all those back, and then I'll catch up with you at the end of the vid. No worries. Cheers for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. This is a lot of the stuff that I cut off. These 3 trees. I took them all back to a fairly short shoot, except for the crepe myrtle. I've left a long branch in one spot. I'll give you a bit of a close-up now of the trees, individual trees. So this is me crepe myrtle, one of my favourites. As you can see, this one here I've left long to try and fatten up this section down here. Now I could have cut it back there and it would have made the outside silhouette of the tree look pretty good, but it's not beneficial for the tree in the long run. You're better off letting that grow out long for this whole summer or most of it, and yeah, it'll just benefit the tree more if you do that now rather than later on have a thin bottom branch which just won't look good. The second branch up is actually quite fat, so that's pretty well in proportion to what it should be. So I'll let that grow out, maybe wire it a little bit out to the side so that it doesn't grow in the front too much. The front's around about where I'm looking at it now, or you as well, where you're looking at it. Yeah, I'll give you a quick spin of the tree. I can't put it on the board anymore that spins around because I left it out in the weather and it cracked, and not happy about that. But anyway, so I have to do it by hand. It was only one of those cheap IKEA boards anyway. I'll have to get another one. So yeah, that's that one. Next one that I trimmed up is the quince tree. It's got an interesting base. I mean, it was only taken from a sucker at the bottom of a tree, so you can see I made the bonsai pot out of a casserole dish, just drilled it out with a diamond cutter bit, a hole saw bit. Yeah, probably got a little bit more branch selection to do that at some stage, but I'm happy with a little bugger for now. That's good enough for now. I don't know, in summer I don't normally get too harsh on trying to style the tree in summer. Summer I pretty much just keep the shoots short, so it keeps ramifying, keep cutting them back short. Just like this one here, cut them all back pretty short. And then in winter, if I end up with 3 branches or so from one area, then I'll cut it back to 2 in winter, and I'll cut it back properly in winter. But for summer I pretty much just hedge it or trim it or whatever you'd like to call it, just to increase ramification. And then in winter, yeah, that's when I get it fully into it. And I got the apple tree. Apple tree will be a bit hard to lift up, but it's growing pretty well. It's fairly healthy. The back's a bit weak, but there's still shoots back here. I just got to face that towards the sun for the next couple months, and I'm sure the apple tree will be fine. It's still healthy. I'll just show you the wire. See, the wire's almost cutting in, but not quite. But now that I cut it back, it'll probably take another couple of weeks to put out new shoots and then start to fatten up again. So probably got at least 2 weeks grace before I have to worry about taking the wire off now. If it was cutting in deeply already, I would take it off now, but because it's not, I'm going to leave it just so it gives it a bit more time to bite in and make the tree hold its shape, hopefully. It doesn't matter too much if it bites in slightly, but it's when it bites in real bad where you got a problem. You might see here, see that bit just there where my finger is, just there's probably the limit. You don't want to let it get any worse than that. That shouldn't get any worse than that in the next few weeks because I cut it back so hard. But yeah, so that's basically it. That's summer pruning of my trees, and I pretty much just prune them all like that for the summer, and then in winter I get in there and wire them and do them properly. Maybe something like a hawthorn if I want to introduce a bit more shape into the short branches because they're so brittle. I'll wire it out now, but generally that's all I do now, and then when it comes to winter then I'll wire it all. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Thanks very much.